Hello, hello, Earthlings. Well, for some of you that are Earthlings, check on it. This is an impromptu video as a follow up and as a disclosure. So, check on it. I'll wait for a couple people to come in. It says no one's here, but I think that may change. So, let me know if you can hear me. Put a like on the video to let me know that you're here. Are you here? Check on in. Hello. Hey, Chris. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Amaral. Hey, everybody. Salutations. Greetings. Hey, An from Vietnam. An, did you get my video from Vietnam, the sighting that they had? Look and see your messages, because you guys had a sighting of a triangular ship. So tell me if you see it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's Sag season. Big up to all the Saggies in the house, all the Sagittarius. You got them? Okay. Big up to all the Saggies in the mother freaking house. Check on them. Okay. I'll wait until everyone comes. I hope everybody's well and you're keeping healthy, because there are so many distractions, and Disease X, a new geo-engineered Melissa, honest telling you to come to Vietnam. There's a new geo-engineered Disease X, which is just an amplified triggering of the blah blah blah. Okay, we'll get into that. Oh, Melissa said she's send her some fake sun. It's so funny that these stars are talking to each other in the chat. It's so cute. Um, Washington House, what up? Her from Washington Heights. That's my own neck of the woods. You know what I'm saying? 207th and Broadway. What you know about that? 207th and Broadway. Remember, that's like, for some of those who are from New York, that's like a Dominican. Well, now it's like gentrified. So it's a Dominican area. That's where I used to get my hair blown, like wrapped and blown, and my hair stuff off of Broadway. Always on Broadway. So big up to all my New Yorkers in the house by way of Washington Heights. I haven't, 164 Washington Heights. Letters from the house too. Yeah, it's Dominican City over there. Dominicano City in the Heights. You know what I'm saying? That's actually my mom and dad's old neck of the woods. They lived there for a while. I think they met. No, they met in did they met in Brooklyn? They might have met in Manhattan. I think they met on Broadway. So check on in. Upstate New York, a little town in Iowa. Hey, Natalie. Okay, check on in, y'all. Okay. I'll wait until we get to 500, but let me state this, y'all. There is a placater online who is watching my videos and had the audacity to directly take everything I said from my video and made a whole new video with everything I shared in the last video. How disrespect. Do you think that people don't see you, Isis? Don't come on my feed. I don't like you. I don't like someone who would do that and then tell people it's from source when literally the source is Fleur Broom. Okay? Don't do it. Okay? You already had Rod Hayes come for you, and Alexis, you did some dirty deed to her. People talk about the things you do. Leave me alone. Don't watch my channel, and please don't placate information that you get from this channel and act like people are not going to go around and tell me. My God. It is so y'all watch out for placaters who sit there and watch other people's videos. There's a lot of people who do that to my channel, and the information I get is not the stuff I talk about is not that it should stay with me, but god darn it, you shouldn't watch my video and then totally repeat everything and not even reference where you got the information from. It's so disrespectful. It's like copycats. Like, get your own. I thought you were talking to Oshun on the walkie-talkie. Why are you coming and talking about and don't even reference my name? Say my name, for God's sake. That is so strange. Like, that's so weirdo. Stop coming to my channel and watching me. I don't like you. I think you're disingenuous. I think you're a placater. And the fact that I thought that and you went and copied and pasted my whole video, like, it's crazy, y'all. Be careful of the placaters online. Rod Hayes called her out years ago, and I just, I keep to myself in my zone, in my lane, in my sector. But certainly, ma'am or Mr., I don't know. Sometimes we don't know who people are. Please stay off my channel. I don't like you. Don't watch me. Okay, watch other people and placate their information. But you must know that my people are really, really spry. And you aren't going to get away with copying, pasting information and then acting like it's yours. It's really disgusting, y'all. Okay? I rebuke you. I rebuke everything you stand for. I don't like how you treat your people, but that's not my business. Stay off of my channel and stop quoting things from things you got from my channel. It actually shows who you really are. Okay? Anyway, that's enough, y'all. Let's go on. I'm such a sad, y'all. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'm like, how are you gonna make a whole video right after and then the audacity. You're gonna do it during Sag season. And then not only that, you're gonna make it right after mine so people can actually reference where it came from. Come on. Now, if you're gonna say, listen, I got this information from Fleur, by all means, share away, but don't sit there and placate like information you're conjuring up from yourself. And I heard you do things like that, but I never witnessed it. But actually, thank you to my C-stars who shared with me, because I didn't know that you made a video and they shared it with me. And I realized, wow, people were actually telling the truth. So be careful of the placators on your line, y'all. They will play like they're really enlightened. They're getting messages, but really what they're doing is they're copying, pasting other people's information and going online and just taking bits and pieces and acting like it's something that's coming from source. Give me a freaking break. Fakers and funkers. leave me alone. Don't watch my channel. Okay? I'm a straight woman. I like men. Okay? Just a FYI. I sleep with very conscious men. Okay? Okay? That goes for you, sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm so you ready now? Leave me alone. Stay off my sector. You don't even come from the UFO. And then you sitting there saying Anunnaki is the most generic term you can use. Like, Anunnaki references beings from another place. Stop it already. Stop. You're not from my sector. You didn't know Dr. Blair. The only reason you reference him is because you heard me say it. Stop watching my channel. I rebuke. I blocked you, so that means you're making another name to placate and come on my channel. Stop making other YouTube so you can watch my channel. If you like me, you have a crush on me, then say so. But don't copy my information and then act like it's yours, okay? I'm a straight woman. I don't go that way. I don't know if you thought I did, but let me remind you, I'm strictly Rickly. I'm so sassy. You already know. Big up. Welcome to Sag season. If you didn't know, now you know. And I'm from New York. Don't play. We call people out. And I keep quiet most of the time. I'll wait until we get to 500. I'm just releasing the Kraken. I'm pretty chill. I don't really bring up other people because it's unnecessary. Like, if you sweat me, okay, then say you do. But don't sit there and play like you gonna watch my video and do, and then go and make a whole video based on what I shared. Don't do it. Because I'm really a contactee. And I don't think you want smoke from the beings that I'm in contact with, because anything that I'm in contact with certainly wouldn't be in contact with you. Okay? All right? Just FYI. Anything that would talk to me, communicate with me, or be in alignment with me wouldn't even mess with you. Okay? I don't know what you got going on over there. I don't really care to know. I know that people called you out online, but keep me out your mouth. Keep my information out your mouth unless you plan to say my name. Then you can share whatever you want. Okay? Anyway, just be careful, y'all. There's people online, like another YouTuber took a picture of mine that was a personal picture and posted it on his page and acted like it was his. People are really weirdos. Like, if you can't get contact, get offline. I've been on here a long time, and I don't come on here with somebody else's content reading it off. The transcripts. Yeah, watch out for the dogs and the animals. Oh, wait. Did she say that? Okay. Wait. Okay, it's 500. Okay, I'll stop. I'm so sassy. You already know. Okay, y'all, let's get it. Okay, so let's talk about the UAPs, the UFOs that are over the tri state area in New York. Big up to our homegirls that were in my group that are actually from Connecticut, who actually, especially Toya, who actually witnessed some of the UFOs over in Connecticut for a while. Big up to some other homies who outside who get to actually witness some of the UFOs. Now, many of you know I had made a video, I think. Um, it was the week of, I think it was the week of Halloween. I know I was expecting to get contact from my father and my grandmother, but I told you it was odd because I got contact from beings that I wasn't aware of, and they told me that they were here and they were going to clean up shop. So it was interesting. They just let me know to just it is as it's supposed to be. So I was to basically just chill out and just watch without really interfering or trying to energetically put my energy into it. You know what I mean? So what I did is I've been watching all of the different scenarios that are playing out since that contact. And what is so interesting, because it's synchronistic, is that the contact that I had was a week before people started to see the UFO showing up. And from what I understand, a lot of them immersed from the water. And many of you who are from the UFO sector, unlike Isis, who's not, I don't know where she came from. I just have to say it because I'm like, how you gonna come out of left field and never come from the UFO community and now pop in and then start referencing things and people and places you don't even know about, darling. Okay. So that sector, we've known for years that many of the UFOs, they originate, or some of them are seen coming out of the water, the oceans. And some have actually taken some images of the actual ships that were drawing seawater up, and we're thinking that it was used as a way to power some of these ships, if they were organic, because obviously many people have witnessed what we perceive to be like macabre ships, light ships, like plasma ships, that I personally don't think require any form of physical or material forms of energizing. It literally is like initiated through the macabre itself, like the energy that is initiated through the actual plasma itself, self sustaining the energy. So what we were seeing that uh this these ships, some of them were originating from what we understand is over the waterways, and New Jersey is having tons of UAPs. Now, they had a congressional meeting over this, y'all. So if you want to reference this, you can go, it's online. And this is what's nice about coming from this sector. A lot of the things that we had witnessed for many years, they called us crazy. They said, you're like eccentric. You guys are like, making these things up. But what is nice, and it's kind of like we're coming around that 360, is that a lot of the witnessing or the things that we were testifying, as far as our own personal experiences and others, were literally now being solidified. And most people who thought that we were cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, talking about that we're making it up, that we're liars, that we're mentally ill, are now kind of like sucking in those comments, because now you're fake. Your congressionals, the so-called government, is now initiating statements regarding some of those UFOs and other beings, or other interterrestrials or extraterrestrials, or interdimensionals, that they have also known about, been in contact with, and have been hiding in a lot of your CIA documents that are now being released purposefully. Now, you've got to ask yourself, why all of a sudden are we seeing on social media? And I think with my last video, I kind of spoke about the fact that the matter is, your governmental official, your Willy Wonka system, hasn't ever spoke on these things publicly before. They've been cloaking it, hiding it, and trying to keep that information from the public, right? So many contactees, or those who are adoptees, or people from the sector, the UFO sector, and Dr. Double Blair, which absolutely was to me a trailblazer to melanated people who weren't aware of such contact happening within the melanated community. And over the years, for some of you who've been a part of to my platform for years, you've actually been able to hear some of the wonderment of of shares from many people who have had contact, forms of contact. There's always different forms. Sometimes it's just visually seeing ships. Other times it's maybe seeing something that is out of the ordinary, that is more connected to galactic than it is the uniform, like spirit interface, right? Um, and there were several different contactees. And like I said, I've referenced quite a few. And over the years, because many of us contactees have been in contact with each other, we share a lot of very similar experiences. Okay. And let me state this because I know when I was on Brother Rich's channel, big it's a Brother Rich. He's a daddy of a little girl now. And I have to say congratulations to Rich again for bringing helping to usher in his beautiful new daughter. I'm really happy for him and his family. So his son now has a baby sister, which I'm so excited for them. But when I was on Brother Rich's show, I think I referenced people with tattoos and how they were going to have issues having contact with galactics or interdimensionals. And let me state this: this isn't to attack anyone who has tattoos. It's telling you that that was a psyop. Them promoting for you to get tattoos with ink that you did not reference or know where it was coming from. They were pumping nanoparticulates because to melanated people later, because they knew melanated people would have contact with interdimensionals. And in order for them to make sure that they could tag you, they wanted to put that nano in you, black goo, to make you, if you had contact, to make you trackable. Okay. So the nano would be working almost like a chip. So that's why I was saying that. I wasn't saying that you're not qualified to get contact. I wasn't saying you're a terrible person that you got that. I'm just saying you fell into the trap of being socially engineered by these bastards to put an ink which was filled with nanoparticulates that is now in your dermis, just like the blah 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 that everyone was choosing or forced or coerced to get in 2021 to 24. Okay. That is nanoparticulate. So the beings that are outside of this firmament, I'm talking about the ones that are interdimensional. Now you could have contact from beings that are inside the firmament because they're not working with certain kind of energy that would be non-permissible within this field. So like spirits, ancestral beings that are tied to the earth, elementals, they will definitely contact people with tattoos. So please be careful. I'm not disrespecting. I'm just saying beings interdimensionally, and this is what they relate to me. And also, if you don't, because some of you don't like a woman telling you this, Dr. Delbert Blair was where I got that from initially. Dr. Delbert Blair, when I asked him about tattoos, had said it was a tagging. It was they were tagging people and making it so that they were going to have issues having any sort of interface with things outside of here. So where I got the initial, because I asked Dr. Blair, and I think some of you've been a part of my platform for a long time. So when I was talking to Dr. Blair many years ago, the first question I asked, because a lot of brown people were getting tattoos, and I told you about this beautiful tattoo that I thought was gorgeous, and I asked him about it. And he said to me specifically that that was dangerous for the body. It was going inside the organs. I'm not to do it. He said, do not get a tattoo. It is not for you to do. So if you want to get upset at the messenger who's speaking about it, I made sure in my years ago to ask the elder who I know was a contactee and ask him what he thought about it. Okay. And from what I understand is that the nanobots are basically trackers, and they block certain frequency from you being able to have initiation with, like interface with. That's it. It doesn't mean you're a terrible person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're not having contact. People took it so personally because you were all victims of your social media that will promote things, and people will jump on the bandwagon and never question. Just like, you'll see people say they're vegans and they watch what they eat, but they wouldn't ask their tattoo artist what kind of ink they're putting in their bodies. It doesn't make sense. That's a form of MK Ultra. It worked. It literally, evaded your consciousness from even questioning where that ink came from. Like, if you're getting anything in your body, why wouldn't you ask the origin of it and ask to see where specifically it came from? And people were mentioning natives and indigenous. Yes, native and indigenous had tattoos, but guess what? What ink were they using? They were using ink from natural organic, from bark that was milled, from charcoal, from berries. They were using natural elements, natural material to have tattoos. So that's all I'm saying. So please don't take it so personally. Not everybody's here to be contacted, but I'm just saying they knew that melanated people would have heavy contact from interdimensionals and extraterrestrials by nature of the beings that are in here, and how they wanted to kind of co-opt that is by initiating a program to promote and propaganda for tattoos to be something that would be initiated in that group of people. Okay, so that's it. So I wanted to kind of clear that up because I know people were really upset at me saying that, but that is nanotech in there. And it literally, and how we knew is when I was giving people protocols and how to clear it out your system, it attacks you when you try to get it out your body. It literally zaps your body because it does not want to leave. And when we try to make it leave with the protocol, it will start to animate itself after cleansing it. So it's something that doesn't leave the body. It just, you can kind of put it in a dormant state, so it's not as proactive and interfacing with your electronics or things outside in your field, but it regenerates itself and it reanimates itself. So you have to constantly deactivate the nano in your body. Okay, so don't take it personally at all. I think actually speaks to why they propagated it mostly to that group of people, is because they knew who was coming here and who would be initiated into contact. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So FYI. So we're going to talk about the distractions. Everything that is being promoted and propagandaed is being purposefully it's flooding the social media to deter you and distract you. Why it's doing that is a couple things. I told you that the beings are here, okay? Um, they do have there's something going on outside my house. So I think that they're around my home. There was a lot of different occurrences on the 3rd where these rolling clouds came in. I don't know if you guys saw the movie The Fog. Um, I don't know if you saw, remember The Fog, The Mist? There were movies like that. Do you guys remember The Mist and The Fog? Many different places on the planet were experiencing unnatural fog and clouds rolling in at the time. Um, that supposedly that whole prediction, and can someone name him, because at least I want to reference the people I get this information from. After this woman has just made a video copying, pasting, reading off the whole transcript of my video, I want to make sure that I reference. I always give people props for things they share with me. Can someone tell me the gentleman's name? I think his name's Carl something, who had the AI bot. Can someone put it in the chat? The AI bot that predicted that after 39 days after Trump did an interview with Joe Rogan, that there would be a invasion of so-called aliens. Can someone tell me his name so we can give him props? Like Cliff High. Thank you. Thank you. Cliff High. Let me make sure I give references. After this woman just went and just took and copy and pasted everything I share, let me give props. Cliff High. Cliff High is, and please go to his channel so you can reference his prediction bot that actually Cliff High. And tag him, y'all. He did a really good job. It caught my attention. I didn't know him before, but it was wonderful. This information was wonderful. So if you want to kind of know what I'm talking about, y'all, go to Cliff High's channel. Tell him Fleur Bros sent you, okay? And he had a web bot that this has like a predictive kind of quality to it, and it made some really interesting predictions. I don't know, that's the only one that I've listened to because it referenced a so-called invasion, and the only reason I was even interested in that information was because I had contact the week before saying they were here and they were going to get rid of especially melanated men that were non-righteous and weren't doing their job. They were contracted to protect melanated women, and they literally were destroying, abusing, and dispersing of melanated women. So I talked about the beings that were here, and that's the only reason Cliff's webbot was of interest, because it was very interesting. That's what I'm saying. I would love to know your opinion, y'all. So please make sure you give me your opinion if you listen to his videos. It was very interesting. I don't think he's a agent. You know, usually when you see people online, you have a feeling about them. You have a, I don't know, it's like a gut. You know, when you, it's like meeting someone and you just feel like you know them, or you feel like the things that they share is relative to you. It's kind of like that. So I felt like his information was interesting. But let me go back to the fog and the mist. Okay. So the fog and the mist had been rolling in that day before, and there were plenty of sightings. They're calling them UAPs. I almost feel like they're purposefully changing the name of UFOs to really distract and try to mislabel what we from the UFO community, from our sector, have always known. Like the fact that you're calling them drones when these are the size, some of them size of cars and buses in the sky. Like I talked about the fact that when these beings came, there's a huge ship, and this is another thing. This chick went and copy and pasted. Now, oh, the ship is over underneath the firmament. Like this is so I'm sorry, y'all. I'm triggered. She like gaslit me. My C Star showed me her video, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, what kind of sick, like, and just the fact that you're so brazen to think that no one would call me to the table. Like, if you're gonna copy and paste someone's information, like I talk about Cliff's information, God darn, reference it. So I don't end up hating you. Cause now I totally think everything that everyone said about you is totally legit. I think everyone that ever, like when Rod Hayes is a really chilled out guy. Like Rod Hayes doesn't strike me as someone who's like crumped up, like really just like amped up to just talk about people. When he said you were a charlatan, he said you basically would go online. I got the video. He said you would go online just copying, pasting other people's information and basically dispersing it like it was yourself. I heard him say that, but I didn't have any reference. You know, I can't always say that somebody's right or wrong because I didn't have any content, no reference to it, right? But now I know, like after listening to what you did, you probably did it to a whole bunch of other people. The girls on my line, big up to the Sea Stars, the the um Zombies, because they were the ones. I got to give them credit because they were the ones who brought it up, like Delmache, Oracle, a couple of the other Sea Stars. They were the ones who actually alerted me and showed me the video. And then also on from Vietnam. Yo, you got my homegirls from out of the country calling me, telling me you placating. Anyway, let me move on. It's disgusting. I'm just so, and like this is what I'm saying. She's a melanated woman. You see, y'all? You got to be careful because they look like you, they act like you, but they're not you. These are people that will be melanated. They act like they have the interests of the community, and these are basically like, I almost feel like they're sent here by CIA agents. Like I almost feel like they're plants because it doesn't make sense. Like why would a melanated woman do that to another melanated woman who's coming from the actual sector that she's talking about? And it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, let's go back with the fog. So the fog rolled in, y'all. Okay. Oh, kinfolk, kings. Oh, skinfolk, kinfolk. I know that's right. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I'm talking about Isis. See, say my name. I'll say her name. That's so nasty. So nasty. I'm so disappointed that that is okay for someone to do, and especially when they're referencing things from a sector they don't come from. And then they're not even afraid of the beings that contact me. Like that's crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me just move on. Usa. It's very disappointing, and it's really disingenuous. It really is. Um Yeah, I didn't have any reference before, but now I do because now I know. Now it happened to me, so I know it's true. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's talk about the fog. The fog rolled in on the 3rd, okay? And the 3rd when it came in, there was a over like an look, they're doing it now. They're spraying the skies right now. Okay? there was a whole bunch of fog. So I personally know that they brought in the fog, they geoengineered that fog. Now I'm unsure if it was the interterrestrials or extraterrestrials doing that. I can't really say. I don't have a reference for that. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. What happened? Okay, that's me. Sorry. Um, I don't have a reference for it. So, um, I can't say if it was them or if it was me. Okay. Um, yeah, oh, I call him D Nice. Yeah, another one took some information. I don't know. They're out of control. I don't want to talk about it again because I just think it takes away from my platform. I just wanted to speak on it so people understand that there are people like that online and you got to be very careful because what is the justification of? I just want you to know like what is their goal in doing that? Like where is that coming from? Why would they do that? It doesn't make sense unless they're like agents. Like are you an agent or are you just somebody who wants to just feed off of other people's information because you don't have any for yourself. I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak up. I'm not gonna say everything that person does is not legit because I don't know. But I just know when someone does dirt like that, I would question everything. Okay. Um, so the fog came in, and then our homegirl, An, who's in Vietnam, talked about it was real foggy in Vietnam, like it was crazy, like weird kind of fog. The air was really thick, and now we know on that there was a ship, a couple, I think it was one or two ships that were that actually witnessed. They videotaped over in Vietnam. It was a triangular ship. Now, many of you have to realize that right before all this was happening, we were noticing, especially in Vietnam, and just speaking on that because we got our homegirl who's from there, that in Vietnam there was a whole bunch of visits from Bill Gates went there, Kamala Harris went there. And remember, Vietnam is a very small country in the realm of, Asia, like Southeast Asia. I think that's considered Southeast Asia, right? On. And why would you have so many close visits in a short amount of time? Like, why would you have that many visits in such a short amount of time that would that uh that would that would qualify all of these congressional people going over to Vietnam to visit? Like, what were they talking to the Vietnamese prime minister about? Like, why was there such a strong pull for all of them to go? And I think also what's his name? Biden also went to Vietnam a couple of times during these last couple of years. So it's like within the last 2 years, Vietnam has been visited by a lot of like congressional people, like political people from the United States. And you got to ask why. And now they're getting some sort of UAP or UFOs that are showing up at the same time. Now, when we talk about the UAPs or the UFOs, whatever you want to call it, like it's UAPs is just like, unusual phenomenon, right? And then UFOs is, unidentified flying objects. It's the same thing. They're changing the terminology. I almost feel like to psyop it or to try to change the way that we perceive it, right? And to take it away from what it originally was referenced as. Okay. So there was a huge over mothership. And when we talk about motherships, we're not talking about ships that just are big enough to cover the circumference of an entire state. We're talking about a ship that was big enough and the circumference took up the entire globe, y'all. Globe. So when we're seeing things in places like Spain, France, we're seeing it over Jersey, Connecticut, we're seeing it in Arizona, then we're seeing it over in Argentina, and then there was sightings over in Brazil, then there was sightings over in Africa. I think it was it Zambia? I gotta remember. I don't know if it was South Africa. Was it Zambia or South Africa? There was sightings everywhere over the entire globe at the same time. Then you can kind of say, okay, there's some legitimacy that there's something big enough where it's dispersing ships, little scout ships. Because I personally think these so-called UAPs or these UFOs, or they call them drones, they are most likely scouts that are being dispersed from the mothership. That's why they're so big. The ships themselves are like the size of buses, and according to witnesses, like I have not witnessed Let me say this, I haven't witnessed the ships, but for the last couple of weeks since I got the contact phone call from these beings, my dogs have been going bonkers. My dogs have been literally going crazy, barking at nothing. Like I live on a mountain, on the side of a mountain, and I went to look. Last night they were going crazy. The zombies noticed that they're barking all the time, and before it would be, my I have dogs, so I have a hound crew. I have who let the dogs out. Woof. I have a hound crew, and they do get. I live. I have coyotes too, so sometimes they'll hear the coyotes, and they get amped up. But since the contact that I've had with that message on the phone, I've been getting the dogs, like, just barking at something that I can't see with my naked eye. Now, I have my, and this is why I asked for some of you to get it. I don't know where I put it, y'all, because when I moved, I didn't I put everything everywhere. So I don't know where my night goggles are. You need your night goggles. For those of you who are hunters or know people who use those, like if you have uncles or your dad or people who hunt, try to use your night goggles. Now if you can get the ones that they had up in Vietnam, the one that could see those beings, that's the one. I try to get it, but they trying to charge so much money, I need to make it. You know what I'm saying? On eBay, right, Kevin? They had one. I thought I was going to order it and then it's gone. Anyway, if you can get those so you can see the night gog, because I personally think that something is standing around my house and my dogs can see it and feel it, and I can't see it with my naked eyes. Some beings, I remember when I got contact, they were tapping on my window, so we know they were outside my house. Okay, so the dogs for the last, when's Halloween? What is it? December? Oh God, that's a while ago, y'all. Wait a second. Holy cow, it's December. Oh, I'm losing it. Time is really unraveling, y'all. Because I thought about Halloween is a while ago. Halloween is the 31st of October, and we're already in December. So that's a while ago, y'all. So they've been barking since then. That's crazy. So if your cats, and this is another thing that the placater, oh, if your animals and dogs, get a dog. I mean, come on. Oh my God. Okay, let me stop. I am so petty. I'm so petty. The dogs, the cats, your animals are going to react. I have a friend who has a hedgehog, and the hedgehog is like crying, like doing these weird things. So something is here that's causing the animals to do something odd. They're reacting to something. Now, I thought it was maybe the radiation, but no, they're reacting to something that's here, that's just come here. So there's these fog, like watch the movie The Fog and the Mist. There's movies like that talking about beings use it as to cloak themselves. Now, I think it could be the beings doing it with their ships, the ships naturally. Like if you watch War of the World or War of the World, which one was it? Was it War of the World when the ships rolled in and it came in clouds and then they decloaked themselves, or was it War? All of them did it though. Even with Will Smith, Independence Day, right? They came in the clouds. I gotta refresh myself from memory with that, but I think with Will Smith when he was in the movie Independence Day, when they rolled in with clouds. Does anyone remember that? Okay. Well, I have the purple lights, so whatever it is, it's keeping them a little further away from the house. Whatever it is, maybe, or maybe I'm not sure. Let me not say that because I'm not sure, y'all. I'm not sure what we're dealing with here. Okay. The being said that don't worry. Now, let's go into why all these distractions, and are they distractions or are they just part of what these beings said they would do to the melanated man that we're not being protective of melanated women? Now, I think all men are going to be held to this qualification for extermination. And I thought extermination would mean like they'd, take him out. But I didn't realize it may mean that they are dethroned, like taken out of their position of power and prestige and perception. Because I noticed that there's a lot of melanated men right now that are being dethroned. So you have Sean Combs, which it kicked off with Sean Combs, but did it really kick off with Sean Combs? It did it kick off with Cosby? Okay. So I think what we're seeing in 2024 was the kickoff of, the dethroning of Sean Combs. And it makes me think that the fact of the matter is, you doing this publicly with men that were using their power and prestige and their positions and basically acting and behaving diabolical, especially to melanated women. They were doing it to everyone, but certainly the biggest victims of Sean Combs was, or of, and now they're saying it was Jay-Z as well. The biggest victims that were perceivably in those alleged scenarios were melanated women and children. Okay. So now they added Jay-Z to the mix. And you know that once that prediction was made that Jay-Z was next by Jaguar, right? And I always have an issue with someone who gives information after the fact, after they've eaten off the plates of these diabolicals. Like, I always have issues with people, like, if you're gonna tell what people are doing diabolically, god darn it, it shouldn't be after you already enjoy the amenities of whatever you were getting when you were in that cipher. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel like I can't trust somebody who's a whistleblower after they've enjoyed everything and now they're not in those circles and they're bitter. So now they want to tell everything. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel. It doesn't take away from what she's saying could be true, because I very much think that a lot of the things she's sharing is very much factual. I just don't respect it. You know what I mean? If you had a problem with it initially, then you should speak on it. But I'm just a little old school though. Maybe that's an old mindset. You know what I mean? She's not young either, but I just feel like if it's dirty, it's dirty. You should have spoke up at the time. And maybe Aaliyah would still be living. Maybe a lot of these young people wouldn't have been molested and raped. I mean, a lot of these things would have been pulled out of the hat so that we wouldn't have seen as much damage. We could have had some damage control at the time. That's just my personal perception of it. So I feel like Jaguar Rice, like, she just said that she was raped by Jay-Z by gunpoint and told to sing while he was raping her. I think they were taking turns on her. And I don't know that anyone can make that up. Like, I just, maybe, but I just feel like that is, it sounds about right. And I think, why are people shocked that Jay-Z is capable of this? Because those of us who are from New York and from the hip hop generation, that man smacked young girls. He was messing with Foxy Brown, who was real young at the time. He was like, I don't know, allegedly, what was in his 30s or his late 20s. And Foxy was like 15 and he was up in her snatch. You know what I mean? That was in many hip hop videos. Nobody talked about the fact that he was a grown man messing with a young girl, right? So why are we shocked at this? And then also Nas, who was the greatest MC at the time. I really love Nas because he's like the poetry of like hip hop. Like, when it came after him, he said, you messing with so and so and 13-year-old chickens. You know what chickens mean in the hood, right? Chicken means girls, right? So back in the days, they used to say chick, she's a chicken head. So he was referencing something in his hip hop song. I forgot which. It was off his I forgot which. Can someone find out which one that was? He was referencing something, and he said specifically, because now is a throwback. Now you got to think to yourself, he was going at, JC. He said he was a punk. He was just no one who could, like a snake, you couldn't be trusted, who couldn't be trusted. So back in the days, they used to call young girls chicken heads, like if they were from the hood or just, they acted just, less than savory. That was it. It was Ether. Oh, it was Ether Disc. Yeah. So he said 13-year-old chickens. And the young girl who waited this long, which I'm sure she's being initiated, because I personally think that when Clive Davis was on his deathbed, the diabolical bastard, homosexual nightmare and pervert and pedophile that he was, allegedly, that protection that Sean was under, Jay-Z was under, and a whole lot of others is gone. And that could be why that these things are coming out. But could it be that the prediction that was made by these beings saying that they were going to take out these diabolical ones? Why did I think that they meant death? Because death to one is different, like death of their reputation, death of their ability to have a station to control or influence people. Could that have been the death? You know what I mean? Could that have been what they meant, maybe my interpretation of it was a little off. Because remember, everything is about, it's, people could say the same thing to each person, but the way you interpret it is different. So maybe in itself, them taking out people who influence melanated people, because I noticed that they're basically decapitating all melanated men of power. Do you guys notice that? Billy Carlson is on the list. They're dethroning him. Now, he's not my cup of tea, y'all, as you know. But I know something is out here because they're dethroning him for Jesus. The Christians are coming for him. I didn't think it was worth. I don't like him like that, but I think it's a little petty to dethrone him for Jesus. Like, I think there could have been other things you could dethrone him about, but Jesus, gosh, God darn it, Jesus took out Billy Carson. What? That's crazy. Listen. There's other legitimate things you could probably talk about with him, but Jesus? That's why I think there's an energy that's decapitating and dethroning melanated men who have done harm and have really been charlatans in the brown community. So, that's what's crazy. Who would have thought Jesus would have taken him out? But also let's go back to the distractions, because remember, why I bring this up is because it's a couple things too. They're bringing all of these things because remember I told you, whenever they start illuminating things about brown people or brown celebrities or brown things that are happening in the brown community, it's literally to distract that particular community. And I told you the reason why I think they're distracting that community, because the beings that are here are melanated, interdimensional, visually. Extraterrestrial, if you want to keep it on that level. So I personally think that they're doing these things, especially when they hit the esoteric community. Because remember, they were keeping a surface at like Sean Combs, Sean Carter, the two Seans, the SS. You don't think it's interesting? That's like almost referencing. I'm thinking there might be another S in the mix because they're referencing the Hitler, the kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'm just putting that together, but like they're hitting the two S's, like Sean Carter and Sean Combs. You know what I mean? Carter and Combs, like SC, like almost, it's weird, right? I don't know. Maybe that's just my mind working at. So they're hitting the two S's, right? And then at the same time, like bringing down that community, and that's a huge amount of distraction, huge, like for melanated people. And then they go to the esoteric community because really Billy Carlson is, though he's linked to the UFO community, but you know how I feel about that. And they now, all the people that was caping for him, all the lunar people that let him in, that's why I thought it was a setup from the first place. Like I've been part of the UFO community for a long time, y'all, over 30 years. Dr. Blair, God knows he was there for a long time. We never got invited to anything. They didn't even talk. My name is talked about in those conferences, Contact in the Desert. Like I'm mentioned a lot by people who attend those things, but we're never invited. Remember, I don't care, but I'm just referencing that there's a lot of contactees that are brown, that are legit, like not just, but there's a lot of non-legit contactees that go to like those conferences and get invited. But it's interesting that Billy Carlson was accepted and almost placed there without any sort of dissension, without any, there wasn't any challenge to him. Like they literally were worshiping him there. Listen, I have people who go to the conferences, you know what I'm saying? And they said they were like deriding him. Like he was like nicely set there comfortably. And I always thought that was odd because I was like, he's not really from the UFO community. He always was talking about ancient information and relics. He's very good and well studied in those things. So, you know what I mean? He's very well studied in it. And so I can't, esoteric, extraterrestrial, we kind of cross bars a lot of times. So I can't say he wasn't appropriate to put there, but why all of a sudden would they put one melanated person and then all of a sudden they didn't say they had contact and then they're in contact with the Greys? And you know how I feel about people who are in contact with the Greys. It's my opinion. When people are contacted by Greys, I almost feel like they're they have some governmental ties. That's just my opinion. Now, it could be wrong, but it's my opinion. And I'm coming from that sector. So whenever I hear people saying they're in contact, because melanated people can't say they're in contact with brown ETs and get invited to any conference or any sort of like platform from UFOs. If you're brown and you say you're in contact with brown beings, they ain't inviting you there. I haven't seen it. If they do it now, it's because I said something about it. Okay, just remember that. So they placed him there. And now his own people set him up and are dethroning him over Jesus, for God's sake. Over Jesus. There are brown Greys. How could you be a Grey and be brown? There's no brown Greys. There are Greys. Greys is regarding the skin color. So you can't be a brown Grey. Okay, that's like a oxymoron. You know what I mean? Like you can't be a brown and a Grey. Remember, back in the days, all ETs that they used to promote were green. How come they stopped doing that? Remember all the little green men? Many of you who are older, who are Generation X, going back to the baby boomers, a little further back. I don't know if millennials, you were really caping, you knew about that because that wasn't part of your generation. But for us, we were growing up with the little green men and they all had antennas. Do you guys remember that? How come that's not being promoted anymore? How come you don't see references to the little green men with the antennas? That's been totally wiped out. Marvin the Martian was a melanated Moor. And remember I told you the Moors, I personally think the Moors are from Mars. I actually think they're Martians. So Mel the Martian was black. Mel the Martian was a melanated, and look at his helmet, which referenced where he was coming from. He was a Moor. The Moors had these abilities like telepathy, telekinesis. They had technology that was way more advanced for the Europeans. That's why they ruled all through Europe and Africa. They still do. They just rule behind the scenes. The whole thing with the whole called slave trade was cap. That didn't happen like they told you. They just swapped places with brown people from South America and into the Caribbean and into the North America. The brown people were already here. The slave trade was cap. It was the Moors who did that. The Moors who led the Europeans into the Americas and sent them in to relocate brown, native, indigenous to different terrain within the Americas. That's why they're hiding all of the Olmec heads. So if you don't think it's true, so someone's like, "Oh, you lying? Why you always making things melanated?" Look at the goddamn Olmec heads. So I'm a liar. So on the land that's so-called natives that look Asian and European, they have big, wide noses like mine, skin my color, and coily hair with helmets on and melanated skin, and you're telling me that I'm lying? How could you have melanated looking statues existing in all of North America if those people weren't here? Where are those people now? They're here, but they've been stripped of their memory, so they don't even know they're from here. Because you geoengineer the information and you lie and you create new books. Remember, when things are conquered, all of the previous, and look what they're doing over in Syria and over in Gaza. You got people saying Palestine never existed when, God darn it, before Israel was created. On the map itself, I could bring the ancient maps. Don't let me go back in the archives. It doesn't say Israel, it says Palestine. Before the Jews from Europe were initiated to go there by Hitler. Hitler was the one who created that contract for the Jews to go over in what was then Palestine. Okay? Stop playing. These people, like, you have to use some discernment, y'all. History just repeats itself. It just really does. It's not nothing. What did Dr. Delbert Blair used to tell us? There isn't anything new under the sun. So people will start to hide information. They'll start to change it, even verbally in the lexicon. They'll start to deny it. So now you're starting to see people saying, "Oh, there's no Palestine. There's no such thing." Or when you say, "Oh, there's no Palestine," now they're going to say, "There's no Syria." What's Syria? Because now 40, 80, 100 years from now, they'll be like, "Oh, Syria? There was no such thing as Syria. Oh, there was no such thing as Palestine. Because if you destroy the people and you genocide the people that are living there and you change the name, who's to say that it ever existed? Because history is written by victors, not victims. Okay? I'm just saying. I won't bring up Middle East because there's a whole lot of other places that have been gentrified, including the United Fakes of America. Don't get me started with that. Okay? So when we talk about the Moors and the Martians, they were beings that coexisted here already. They're still here. The bloodline of the Moors is still here. That's why you see people with the last name Blackman, Moore, anything that has black in it, even if it's in French, Portuguese, Moors, they have it in their name. Moore, if it doesn't matter how it's spelled. Amor, amor, amor is love. Why do you think you have the word amor? Amor is love. Why is it called that? Because it's connected to the Moors, right? Okay. Okay. Let's go back. Malachi Z. York was he was a contactee, y'all. Okay. Many of you know this already. Now, whether he was a nice person, whether he was molesting children, I can't say. I just know, like, one of his children said he did something, but does not take away that a person is a contactee. What contacts them may be connected to the type of energy they carry, the signature, but it doesn't mean they're not a contactee. That man had a whole city that was referencing ancient Egyptian type of relics and buildings. And literally, when he built pyramids, water was coming underneath the ground on the 33rd in Atlanta, Georgia. And when they arrested him, normally when someone gets arrested for child molestation or something crazy, they're not going to go governmentally and break down all the pyramids and all his houses. People were living there. So you gotta say to yourself, we gotta put our thinking caps on, right? We tell our children, put your thinking caps on, right? Let's put our thinking caps on. If someone is being arrested, when did you ever hear someone being arrested and then they go to their house and they basically get a bulldozer and bulldoze over their entire house and their land and everything they built? Why would they do that? Okay, if he wasn't important, if he wasn't connected to something celestial, why do they keep him isolated? Like with, when Rod Hayes talks about what's the gentleman that's in jail? What's the guy Rod Hayes talks about? Oh God, what's his name? Free Larry Hoover. Why do they keep Larry Hoover isolated from other inmates a lot of times? I personally think that Larry Hoover and Malachi Z. York most likely are hybrids. And they have the ability to use telepathy and telekinesis. I don't know this for a fact. Now, this is something I will say, this is just me that I'm just surmising what I think. And it doesn't mean it's right. Okay. I'll tell you when I know what I know, and I'll tell you what I think. I actually think that they might be hybrids. Like when I say hybrids, not hybrids like in a negative way, like kind of like beings that are more of something that has power and control and more of an ability to use to like abilities, like supernatural abilities that most humans don't have as much or don't have access to as much. That's all. So I actually think the fact that they isolate these men, they keep you from hearing about them, the way that they treated Malachi Z. York's foundation, his land is still there. Listen, we had a Sea Star on site. Big up to the Sea Star on the Zoom who went to the site. They have fences. One of his Sea Star, which was one of his priestesses, Master Umi. Master Umi, big up to Master Umi, which one of his priestesses, she joined us on Zoom for a while. She talked about what they did to Malachi Z. York's place, and they destroyed everything that was connected to anything that they perceived to be extraterrestrial. And then they fenced out the entire area and won't let anyone build on that area. It was his land, y'all. He had paid for it. The Nawapians. Nawapians are over in Atlanta still, but a lot of them were told to go to Orlando and go a little further after the time. Because I had met them when I first moved to Orlando. Okay. So why would you do that? Why would you fence out around? So you're afraid of what's on that land? What energetically are you afraid of anyone having contact with or coming in close proximity to? It doesn't make sense. So when people talk about Malachi Z. York and they say this or that, I always say you can really see or you can understand more and legitimize him based on how the government reacted to him, right? So based on how the government, what they did in regards to him and what he created. So I don't even have to say he's legitimate or not. I could just see what they did and know that there isn't any government that's going to someone's house, arresting them, and goes with bulldozers and destroys everything that was created there. That means that something he was doing was celestially outside of what they felt comfortable with, and they wanted to destroy it. Okay, that's all. So when you bring up Malachi Z. York, that's how I say. I think and know. Well, no, I don't even think. I know he was legitimately in contact by how the government reacted to him. That's all. And the same with Larry Hoover. Why would you hold a man that has that kind of, like, they were saying that he could literally command other men, other inmates with his mind. That's a very hybrid thing. You know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't a hybrid. Maybe that's how humans were at the time, but he has that ability. Okay. So I don't know. So let's go back to the distractions. So now we have all of the melanated men holding high positions being dethroned. And Jay-Z was higher than all of them because remember, we saw past pictures of him in in the 1920s in Harlem, and that to me showed me that he was traveling through timelines. You cannot tell me that a man that showed up looking like that, remember, features of brown people changed a bit based on our mixing patterns of different types of people we were getting access to genetically. His features wouldn't have looked like that and then still look like this in 2000, whatever, what was he born in the 60s maybe? How old is Jay-Z? Does anyone know how old Jay-Z is? Maybe, but also maybe he is another being because maybe he didn't age. Maybe he's like the vampires that don't age. Does anyone know Jay-Z's age? He's in his 50s? Okay. He's 55? Okay. So think about that. So is it that he traveled interdimensionally or inside the different timelines or past, like they say Trump and Barron did? Or is he a byproduct of being a being that does not age and lives here and coexists here? So that we see them in the past and we think that it's a different being and it's the same guy walking around still today because he didn't age. And why I say that is because aging is a byproduct of bioengineered viruses, food that's being food is being incepted with poisons. Really in itself, most people who are melanated are ageless. And please don't get mad when I say this, y'all, because some people are like, oh, that's not true. But no, yes, it is. It is true. I, do not listen. There's certain things that every group of people has that's a gift and a wonderment, but stop making it seem like brown people can't say anything nice about, like, that's a good thing without being like, oh, why are you saying it? Like, why does it bother you? Okay. Brown people are ageless. A lot of melanated people don't age, and everybody knows it. Okay. So please stop denying it because you know that if I stand with a woman, I went to school with other women and I look almost the same that I did in high school. A little more mature. I had children, a little different, but I look almost the same. If you look at my high school pictures of myself now, it's not that far apart. Okay. So why aren't we aging? Because we're a different kind of being. Okay. We're a different kind of being. And anything that ages and doesn't last very long, it makes me think that they're artificial. So if something ages and has very non cohesive biology for the terrain it's existing in, what are they? Where are they coming from? Who's created them? Where did they come from? Okay? Because if you're living in a terrain that's you're organically from, it isn't going to deteriorate you. Okay. So no. And there's people that are less melanated that don't age, like Asians, a lot of Asians, depending on where they're from. Asians like Thais, Filipinos, who else? Polynesians, Vietnamese, the Khmer over from Cambodia, um, they don't age. And the ones well, remember also Asians bleach their skin too, so I can't. Japanese don't really age that much either, right? Um, but like some of the other beings, they probably don't age either, but they bleach their skin. So I don't think they age as well. Because if you look at the Asians, um, not all. I've got to reference it. Like, oh, let's see, who do I see? I've met a woman in Sedona, an Asian woman. I think she was like, she told me she was like, I don't know, 75, and she looked like she could be in her 40s. So there's something to that too. It's a thicker skin too. But that's something that's a little more extraterrestrial. Or is it extraterrestrial or is it very terrestrial? Okay. Um anyway, I sidebarred. Okay. So let's talk about the distraction. So I actually am confirming that the beings who said that they were going to get rid of brown men that were doing harm and that weren't protecting, I'm seeing it now with Sean Combs, Sean Carter, Billy Carlson, who else? I noticed with a lot of people, you gotta be careful too. A lot of people who name this is what I'm noticing with the woman who placated and took my information and made a whole video on it. I noticed that a lot of people like with the name Isis, what's the other one? With Lucid Living, what's her name? Offset. They're really dark. Like, I think people should stop naming themselves ever ancient Egyptian or using that energy because when you don't match it, it elevates your darkness. Like she was dark too. Like she was another one that liked to copy people's information, wasn't coming from a legitimate place, and look where she is now. Okay, you know what I mean? No shade, but shade. Like it literally. I almost feel like it illuminates your darkness when you use a name that doesn't match you. Like, why can't you just make up your own name? Like, I didn't have to take a name to make myself elevated. I used a name that I created myself from a child. You know what I mean? Like, why would you take a name and, I notice a lot of people who have Egyptian names and they use it and they're dark. It literally kind of illuminates how dark they are. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can reference that more. Maybe I'm just referencing it because she pissed me off. Sometimes when people, sometimes I stay in my lane, but I stay in my lane, but when someone pisses me off, then I notice stuff. Like I'm like, "Oh, really? Oh, really? You want to conjure me out of my UFO sector? You want to conjure me out of my comfort of what I normally talk about because I don't go over anybody. I don't listen. If I don't like you, y'all, I'm not going to your channel to look at you. Okay, so obviously you like me, and like I said, I am strictly D. Okay, I don't know what kind of like you like, but I don't like you. Okay, I don't like you taking my information and talking about is from source and acting like that's okay. Like I don't think that's cool, and I don't like the fact that I can go and reference other people who said you do this, and I didn't really have a construct that I didn't have any sort of reference to myself, but now I know they're telling the truth. Like wow, like yo, all right. Anyway, okay, so the distractions are now happening that, and also with the CEO that was killed from United Healthcare that was killed. I did post in my Patreon the manifesto that supposedly, notice I use this word, I know what I'm talking about, supposedly was written by the gentleman. What was his name? Luigi. You don't think his name is odd, y'all? Luigi Manny something? What's his name, y'all? He's got a why is he named after like a you don't think that's weird? His name is Luigi. What's his last name, y'all? Man Man Mangione. He's like an Italian. Is he Italian? Mangione. Oh, that's Italian. Okay, Luigi's Italian then. Yeah. Mangione. Yeah, that's Italian. That last name I know. I'm from New York. We got a lot of Italians. Okay. Um Luigi Mangione. You don't think it's odd that they had images that didn't match and that anyone from New York, big up to my New Yorkers, and let me ask my New Yorkers in here, anybody who goes down to Midtown, okay, so if you look at the video where the so-called Luigio is supposedly, I say supposedly because I don't think it's real, I think that's actually CGI. I actually think that video that they show to us is CGI. So do you see that video where they show him shooting the CEO of United, and the camera conveniently moves to angle it in a perfect way so you can see it. And then if you're from New York, you'll realize in Midtown at nighttime, not or this was daytime, they said. You do realize like if there's a shooting, and I'm in New York, I'm a native New Yorker, y'all. I'm not talking about people who are not from New York who just say they go to visit. No, I'm talking to New Yorkers in here. Just I'm talking to y'all and just see if you think the same. If there's a shooting, because we've all witnessed, a lot of us have witnessed it or heard it. There's a guy who's parked on the left who has a truck. I don't know if it's a Explorer. You'll see it when you see the shooting. His brake lights are on. Like he moved, like you can see his light goes on and off. Whenever there's a shooting in New York, people drive off. Like whoever was in the car actually sat there the entire time the person was shooting. They weren't afraid and they didn't pull off, but the light kept turning on and off. That's what makes me think of CGI, meaning that there was an implant of imaging in there because the car would have taken off. So I actually think that the scene is fake. And I actually think that maybe the CEO could have actually faked his death. And this could be literally a fake act, a fake simulated CGI by based on y'all look at it. New Yorkers tell me because I'm just saying I looked at it and I know for a fact when there's shootings in New York, it's Midtown, y'all. So it's not even like the hood. Hood people like to look sometimes, but from a distance, but they usually run first, right? And when they got when they got far enough proximity away from the shooting or whatever, then maybe they'll tape it. But the person in the left who's in that Explorer truck, I don't know if it's Explorer, let me know what kind of truck it is. You'll see the light go on and off. Like they put their foot on the brake and take it off. And they're sitting in there while the guy is shooting apparently right outside. So they could definitely see it if they're in the car in their mirror, in their right mirror. How come they're not moving? And when the guy finishes shooting and he moves up, the car stays there and does not move. And the lights are moving. That makes me think that scene is fake. Just let me know. New Yorkers, you know what I'm talking about. This is Midtown. And nobody's on. Then you see an image of someone running on the right. It doesn't seem right. It just seems like it's placated. And then when you look at Luigio, because they basically had this guy, supposedly he's smart, he's an Ivy League guy, he got away with it, went in the park, he did all this thing just to get caught at McDonald's up in Pennsylvania. Does that make sense to you? By a McDonald's worker? They noticed. How did they notice him? He had how did they recognize him? Because maybe they created an image of someone they wanted to get rid of. Maybe he's an anti-establishment kind of guy online, and they wanted to. Did you ever see Eraser or like the movie Eraser or like things where they could set up a person and put their image and make it seem like it's that person? He was at McDonald's and he just happened to have a manifesto in his pocket. He happened to have a printer gun, a ghost gun in his. He's walking around with it, but he's smart. It doesn't sound right, y'all. And then when he tries to say something, when the police are trying to bring him in the precinct, he was like, people aren't stupid. People are intelligent. Like, why would he say that? As to say, like, yo, they know this is fake. That's how I took it. And as soon as he did that, what did they do to discredit him and to make him seem dirty? So all of a sudden you're in his phone and a picture of his penis gets leaked. So now after he's legitimized, he looks like somebody who's a good, upstanding community. He doesn't have any arrests or anything like that. All of a sudden, you show and leak a picture of him holding his penis, which was I'll just leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. I haven't seen anyway. If you've seen it, y'all. Anyway. It's nice to see that there's more penises working nowadays, especially Whew. I gotta take a deep breath because it's nice to see a healthy wand. It is. Not saying that it's appropriate. I mean, I know that they did it, but it was a big distraction. I'm like, what are you trying to do? Put us like a wand putting us under like hypnosis? Oh my God. So now you got all these women, like women and gay men, like literally penis wand-batized. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me take a moment. He looked like a brown man. I thought he switched colors. I thought it was I thought they did like he was a car. Anyway, let me stop. I gotta get out of my head, get out of my head, get out. I'm sorry, yeah. So you're telling me that now after you he says something, you show this picture of his wand, right? Out of the blue? Like, who leaked the picture? Because you know, whenever they take your phone, right? And whenever you take your phone or they take your property, do you know you could be sued for that? Like, who had access to his phone other than the police station? They can be fined for that. That's against the law to go through someone's phone and leak pictures. The family could sue the police department for taking access because there were only a few people who had access to it. Who would allow that to be leaked? Do you understand? That's why I think it's all fake. It's all fake and it's a distraction. And all of this, ladies and gentlemen, sun stars and sea stars, you know, all this is a distraction for what, y'all? What am I going to say? Which your famous placater of Flurbone's information had the audacity to say, and she don't even know what she's talking about because she don't even know what it is. The pole shift. Okay? The pole shift. What did I tell you? All of these things will distract you from all the cracks showing up all over North America. There are cracks showing up in New Hampshire, over in Nevada, over in New Mexico, over in Indiana. All these cracks are showing up and it's saying, oh, it's because the water is being pulled from the earth. No, y'all. The magnetic north is shifting so quickly and so fast. They're not talking about the amount of volcanoes that are literally going off as we speak, like randomly, hail coming out of the sky, all these different forms of what do you call them? Aurora lights showing up in places. They're only supposed to be in the northern hemisphere because the magnetic north is shifting and moving. So you're seeing all of these uh auroras showing up in places that you would never see before. There's all this form of plasma also showing up, like kinetic plasma showing up with crazy storms, like electrical storms that are showing up all over the world. Just at the point where they're distracting you. Everything is distracting you. Don't look up into the sky. Don't look at the temperature dipping and changing out of the blue. One day it's 80 degrees, the next day it's 30. One day you have, it's sunny and then it rains for like 2 weeks. Like all of these weird weather modifications that are not coming from Willy Wonka, they're coming from the pole shift. Okay? The fact that there people are looking in the sky and seeing double suns. They're seeing this weird hue over the sky. Big up to our sun star in Zoom. Arlo, right? Arlo is in DC or outside of Maryland. He just showed what looked like a rainbow, but it was no rain. And it looked like it was we looked at it on Zoom the other day. It looked like an outline of a planet, y'all. What one would perceive as a rainbow, but there was no rain. And he looked at it and it was early. I think, Arlo, are you here? It was about 7 something in the rising. And it looked like the outlining of a planet that you could barely see. So some people are saying that's Nibiru. And if you ever watch Moon Falling, the movie, I think it's called Moon Falling, you'll see when the planet comes so close, it outlines, but you see a filling in. It looked like the outline of a planet, y'all. Or is that a ship? Because remember, the whole concept of Nibiru was spherical, like a ship, like the Death Star you see in, Death Star in Star Wars, right? The Death Star, like it looks like a moon, right? With all these kind of like, it's like round. So what if it's like the ship and we literally see it as a round fixture in the sky? Okay? Because when he saw it, it just looked odd. And he said it faded away like not too long afterwards. Okay? So it makes me think that that is a byproduct of what the pole shift is bringing. These beings showing up to clean up shop. Why are they cleaning up shop? What is about to happen? Okay, I know a lot of people are excited with Trump and his new cast, okay, that are coming in the political arena. January the 20th, right? But you got to ask yourself if the dark Kabbalists and the diabolical ones, because remember, Trump is a bird of two wings, right? One of my subscribers actually wrote that. Whoever wrote that, thank you for writing that. It was a bird of two wings, right? A wing on one side and one on the other, okay? So, are they really going to allow him to come in and clean up shop? Like, big up to Melissa who talked about he might come into, the stock exchange and ring the bell. The bell in the stock exchange, they stopped that for years, which I didn't know about because she's over there, but they talked about the bell in the stock exchange. She's supposed to come in and ring the bell, okay? Remember they got rid of all the bells? How come you don't hear bells anymore, y'all? Remember we used to have bells, downtown in New York? Was it at, St. Patrick's Theater? Who's from New York? Was it at St. Patrick's? I remember as a little girl, because especially around Christmas time, when we go down to Rockefeller Center, or before that, I would always hear the bells at the church, right? I don't hear bells anymore. Do you guys hear it? It was at the church. I think it was St. Patrick's. Can anyone verify that? Wasn't it? I remember when I was a little girl, we used to go downtown, and then maybe midday, we would hear the bells. Most churches had it. It was at St. Patrick's, right? I think it was, right? So, what happened to all the bells? Does anyone hear the bells? They still play in Harlem? Oh, Harlem still has them? Someone said Harlem still has them. St. Nicholas Avenue? Does anyone hear bells anymore? I know it has effect on the frequency, but why? Why would they take all the bells away? It definitely shifts the frequency. I heard because of the magnitude, the size of the bell, it being so big, it had such an effect on the frequency. Probably clears the body of like these nano. Because if you look at wasn't the bell on was it on what's the creature? The one with the what's that creature, y'all, that's in that movie? Um God, he's the black goo. What is his name? Venom. Isn't he affected by the bells? Can someone verify that? Isn't he affected by the bells? Like he can't stay in a body when he's has the bells. Is that true? Isn't it Venom? Am I correct? Okay, it's him. So, do you see what I'm saying, y'all? You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Big up to the New York men. I love some New York men. I miss y'all. I miss your swag, y'all. I do. You know what I'm saying? I do. Cause I remember, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's so cute. It's sexy. I know you if you don't like it, it's a New York thing. I love I have a thing for New York men. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but the bells do something to Venom. So you got to think to yourself, maybe because they're putting all this nano in people's bodies through the ra and other means, maybe because the venom is affected, or because venom, this doctor, and I can't say his name here because they will block this whole feed, okay? He talked about what's in those blah blah blahs, okay? And he talked about it being snake venom, and the one that everyone's getting, Ozempic. He was saying allegedly, remember, this is what he said, I didn't say it. He's saying allegedly that Ozempic has lizard venom in it, and that's why people are going blind, they're getting stomach paralysis, they're getting thyroid cancer, like all of these hosts of things are associated with it. And it's crazy, for the same people who didn't take the blah 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 in 2020, they were quick to take the you already see me how thick I am. There wasn't any Ozempic in my life. You know what I'm saying? There was Listen, I would have been shrunken. I would remember Shrinky Dinks, y'all? Remember Shrinky Dinks, y'all? Shrinky Dinks, if I took the Ozempic or Wendigo, whatever they call it, I would have looked like the Shrinky Dink. I would have looked like something out of Nightmare of Christmas. The Nightmare of Christmas. I would have. Someone said that the other day. I was like, if I took Ozempic, I would look like a bellhead. Shrinky Dinks. Who remembers that? You got to be a person of a special age to remember Shrinky Dinks. I love Shrinky Dinks. I don't know how you felt about it. I love Shrinky Dinks. I wish I had it now to give my children. I don't know. It was fun because it shrunk. Remember that? That's such a flashback, right? How come we don't have that anymore for the children, the little ones, right? Yeah, Shrinky Dinks were cool. Yeah, and Slinkies. Remember Slinkies? A slinky, a wonderful, wonderful toy. It's good for a girl and a boy. Remember Slinkies? We had some fun stuff when we were young. We had shrinky dinks, we had slinkies, we had kabangers. Remember kabangers? And they would block them from our schools because we were killing everybody with them. Remember kabangers, like big balls, and you do it like in a succession. It goes up and down, and people were getting killed. Children were like bumping. They banned it from my elementary school. We couldn't have kabangers, y'all. Remember kabangers? If any of you don't know what these are, you should look them up. They were crazy kabangers. That's what they call it. I think it was crazy. I love kabangers. I almost broke my tooth with the kabangers though, because that sucker, if you go the road, clankers. Maybe it's clankers too. Clankers. I love all that stuff back in the days. Scratch and sniff, Garbage Pail Kids are like the future, y'all. We realized that was a future prediction of Garbage Pail. That's from all the radiation. That's what happens after everyone gets radiated. They turn into the Garbage Pail Kids, y'all. They turn into the Garbage Pail Kids. Okay, so let's go back on the topic. So all of this is a distraction, y'all. I personally, and I know I'm right, they don't want you to pay attention to the geographical um, geographical changes that are happening due to the upcoming pole shift. And they would prefer you pay attention to baby oil. And why it matters is like, oh, well, we should be talking about the diabolicalness that Sean Combs did. But why are we talking about it 20 years later? If Jay-Z raped a 13-year-old allegedly, why are we talking about it? It was 2020, y'all, that he supposedly did it, allegedly did it. And it's now 2024. Why would you bring these things so much later? That's why I say you got to pay attention. If it was legitimate, it would be brought up at the time it was done. And listen, they're distracting the melanated community because, well, whoever they're targeting, and the lunar, because they're targeting the young lunar people. So you know what, y'all? It makes me think they're targeting the people that are most in alignment with noticing things extraterrestrial and terrestrial, because young lunar people, the young lunar children, like around that gentleman's age, the one Luigi with the beautiful wand of wonderment, he's young. What is he, in his 20s? Like early 20s? He's young. He was like valedictorian. He's a nice looking child. Doesn't look like he's a nefarious one. He looks, the manifesto, if anything, it made people feel sorry. You're going to start creating anarchy. The fact that they read that manifesto, y'all, is to create anarchy. So they're going to, what they want to do with that young lunar community. So when we talk about the influence of the melanated, let's talk about what they're doing with the youth, the young lunar community who feels disenfranchised. We watch a whole video of this young Gen Z lunar girl. She was going off on her grandparents and her ancestors, talking about, you ain't leaving us nothing. You took up all the resources, Social Security, Medicaid, and you left them nothing. She was pissed off. She was a young Gen Z, maybe / millennial. But you know who this affects, y'all? You know who's going to be triggered and gaslit and might end up creating a whole group of anarchists? Is young lunar people, because that's what Luigi would represent. So it's almost like they're trying to geoengineer a subgroup that will cause more distractions, because remember, some of you are from New York, in Washington Square Park, did you see all those people dressed like the shooter? They were all dressed up like the shooter in the park. So you had all these lunar men dressed up in the getup of the killer. It looked like his jacket was like from, like I don't know, like, where is it from? Not the Gap, but it's like one of those jackets, you know what I'm saying? They were dressed up and they had the mask on his face. So it makes me think that they're trying to do something to the young lunar group. So that Gen Z, because it's not going to really affect, like the CEO, that shooting didn't really affect melanated people in the same way. Why? Is because melanated people are used to being disenfranchised. Even if they don't come from disenfranchisedness, they're used to seeing it and witnessing it. So it's nothing new under the sun for melanated people. They're used to people denying their claims and the insurance. They're used to being marginalized or treated really unwell by doctors. Like, we don't even trust non-melanated doctors because most of them are not, a lot of them have been socially conditioned by the same diabolical ones that have instituted forms of prejudice and marginalization. So none of us trust the doctors. We don't trust the insurance companies. I'm just saying, a lot of melanated people, I don't care if they have money or not, because I come from middle class people, and no one trusts them. So that psyop was not for us. That was for young millennials who feel disenfranchised. They feel they feel like they don't have a future. And this, I personally think this could initiate an anarchist group. If you watch the movie called, it's really good. I didn't finish it. What's that movie? It's a show on Netflix. It just started with the melanated man. His neighbor got killed, but his neighbor was a white supremacist. What's it called? It starts with an M. Um, does anyone know? It's a show. It's really good. Madness. It's called Madness. It's really good, y'all. I didn't even finish it. I was shocked. I was just bored one night and we wanted to watch something, so we sat and watched it. It was like, oh, that's really good. So why I say Madness is probably the initiation of the CIA. I mean, this guy, because I don't even know if he did it. I don't want to say that he didn't, but those images just don't seem right. It seems CGI. But I think when you watch the movie, that show Madness, and you see this anarchist group that is literally stimulated from the environment, from the like corporate wealth and greed and all that stuff, I think Mr. Luigio could be the poster child of what is going to be initiated by young lunar males and females, within our structure, within the millennials and the Gen Zs, mostly Gen Zs though, but millennials. I don't know. I think it could be like projected, yeah, predictive programming. I just see it. I sense it because I was like, oh, okay, so they're dressing like him. So a lot of young lunar people identify with how this gentleman felt about, if he was the killer, allegedly, felt about how he felt about United Healthcare. And then if you read the manifesto, y'all, this could initiate an anarchist group to be initiated from it. Because if you hear about what he said about his mother was sick and she couldn't get the proper care because she didn't have the coverage, wouldn't cover all the treatment, and how his mother was in pain and he couldn't listen to her screaming in pain at night, and she had like some cellular y'all, I cried. I cried when I read it. And it was, that means that it's working. The social engineering is working. If I'm being initiated, like if I'm feeling triggered by it, that means it's working. That's a good psyop, y'all. When it initiates emotions in you, because you hear it, I'm like, oh my God, his mom, because I love my mom. And you feel it like it's crazy, right? But then they say he's rich. So how can he be wealthy and be worrying about, coverage? Like, which is it? Like they say, oh, he's Ivy League, he's wealthy. But really in itself, if you're wealthy, why would you be worried about your co-payments? And that's what I'm saying. It's y'all, pay attention. It's all a psyop. It's a psyop, y'all. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. If you look at the video, I want some of you, please, can some of you go and look at the video of the shooting and tell me what you think about that car, the truck on the side, before they change the video, because they're going to try to change it. They'll do a Mandela effect on us. Please, can someone screenshot it? I think I gotta get a screenshot. Get the screenshot of the shooting now, please, before they change it. It's like, remember when the Beyonce and her sister picture showed up in the fight in the elevator and you can't find that video anymore? They'll sweep it. Can someone get it and screenshot it, y'all? And tell me what you think about the truck on the side. I'm a native New Yorker. I've seen and been in places where there were shootings and crazy stabbings, all kinds of things like that. Whenever there's a car and people in it, they out. They're driving off. They're not staying around, especially they don't want their car. They don't want their insurance going up. Insurance is a lot of money in New York City. You parking over there, you're probably doing diabolical things. You might have probably having an affair on your wife. You getting a blowjob in the backyard, whatever. But you don't want to be on the site. You don't want your car showing up in the scene. Listen, there's no way that someone would sit in the car and you see the lights on the thing. They're pushing their foot on the brakes and they didn't move. So it makes me think that the addition to the screen was the CGI of the boy and that man. That wasn't in that image. They superimposed it on it. You let me know, because that's what it looks like to me. I could be wrong, but when I looked at it, the first thing I thought is like, a New York mind is like, why didn't that car leave on the side? That's the first thing I thought. Is like, that's odd. They're in it because the brake lights keep going on and off. Somebody's in there. Why wouldn't they just drive off? Maybe somebody said, oh, well, maybe they don't want to cause attention, but you causing attention because your light is going on and off. So you're putting your foot on the gas and not. So you're already causing attention. I don't know. Could he be a maturing candidate, triggered and doesn't even know that he was there? Could be that. So I'm just saying, I would love to hear your opinion about that. But needless to say, all of these things with Jay-Z, Coach Carlson, Because you know, Billy Carlson used to be called Coach Carlson. He changed his name. He doesn't have an L in his name. Just saying. And then his wife, which I think is most likely the handler, Billy Carlson's wife. What's her name? Elizabeth? I don't know. I think that might be a handler, y'all. He just came back from a trip, Turkey, almost didn't make it. His wife had the antidote in her bag, but didn't give it to him till the end. Coach Carlson, let me talk to you for a minute, Coach Carlson. I know you don't like me because I don't really like you, but it doesn't matter because let's just agree to just not like each other. But I don't want something to happen to you. So let me just say this. I think you could be sleeping with the enemy. And I think that you should be very careful about how they plant people in our lives that are plants, y'all. So I know that you love her, I'm sure, because, or him, whatever it is. You love it. But I'm just telling you, Coach Carlson, I would be careful. You might be sleeping with an op that was an agent implanted on you. And I would be careful eating or drinking from that being who's living in your house. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. Don't listen to me. I could be wrong. I don't, I'm just saying. She made a whole video and it was literally throwing your bus, and her friend is telling you that your dead man is in front. Like they're spelling you like Bruhana, like they were doing Bruhana spells on you on their live, and I was like, are you so engrossed in the punani that you don't see like you're maybe being set up? I don't know. Maybe you are the setup at it. Yeah, I'm just putting it that close. You don't have to listen to me because I'm crazy. I'm from a sector that you came into, so I'm just yeah. I'm just seeing I'm being a little messy today. I already talked about ISIS, taking my information and placating and making a whole video after me. So I might as well speak to you, Coach Carlson. I just, Elizabeth, or Mr. E, whatever his name is, because according to our trans investigation, Selma on our channel, Mr. Elizabeth could be a man based on the cranial structure and the way that, but I could be wrong. Don't listen to me, Coach Carlson, because the Jesus people are coming for you. So I don't want to jump on that bandwagon because I think they're petty. And I think they've been socially engineered to do that to you. I think they built you up to take you down. And I think they did it purposefully to make brown people non-legitimized in that field. So what you did is if it was already messy and they already didn't trust us in the ET and UFO community, you just basically made it worse. So they basically built you up and placed you there to decapitate you, to build vilification of brown people so that most brown people won't trust anyone in that. Well, not brown people, but most other lunars who are heading those communities won't trust brown people because they'll think that we're all charlatans like you. And then you had your wife come on and she didn't help. Okay. So I don't know. I hope they don't destroy you totally because I don't think it's right. Not over Jesus. Certainly not over Jesus, right? Who would have thought God darn it, y'all. The Christians, and these are lunar Christians too, y'all. This is a kind of different fanaticism. See, the brown Christians, that's a whole nother sector. But the lunar, listen, I didn't even know they existed because they didn't say a word about transgenderism, penises being cut off, with children at 3 and 4. They didn't say anything about abortions. They didn't say anything about, all this promotion of masturbation of children in schools. So I didn't even know these lunar Christians existed until they came after you for Jesus. Wow. Who set you up? Your own homeboys, y'all. Billy. I shouldn't call you Billy because I don't know you that well. Coach Carlson. Your home people, the ones that you invited to your wedding, they set you up. That's why you can't trust none of these mofos. And you jumped from your brown community and said that we were a whole bunch of charlatans and you can't trust brown people. But you see who set you up, right? I'm just saying, maybe you should take a note from Candace Owens and not throw all melanated people under the bus, making it seem like you can't trust us because apparently you surrounded yourself about a whole bunch of other people and all of them are coming for you, including the people you called your friends. They had you on ring cams. They just dirty. I don't agree with it. I think they all dirty, but I would be careful with Little Miss Sunshine that you sleeping next to and you like the cat, because they usually send, they try to do it with me, they try to send, something they think you like that you're going to be enamored with, to distract you and to set you up. And it looked like it worked. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you a contactee. No shade, but shade, Coach Carlson. I wish you well. I don't agree with the Jesus people coming for you, but I already told you they're out of control. I already told you anyone caping with social engineering and they suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Actually, the lunar community is not suffering from Stockholm syndrome. That's the brown Christian community. That's a different thing. The lunar Jesus people, that's a whole nother beast, y'all. That's the whole Bible Belt. Those are the ones that are like sitting on the side of mountains chewing tobacco, having sex with their own children, creating having like multiple wives under the age of 12. You know what I mean? Those are those people. And they coming for you. I won't even step in because it's not my business. But I just thought I'd warn you after I seen your wife and her friend spell you death. I felt bad. I was like, maybe I should say something. Okay. Don't listen to me though. Because, maybe you shouldn't listen to me. Anyway. Anyway, y'all, I'm being messy. Don't pay attention to all the distractions. You can look at it and witness it, but the pole shift, we're at the heels of a pole shift, is on and go, and pay attention to everything on the ley lines around you. Make sure magnetically, if you feel a little off, a little tendonitis, you feel a little off, you make sure you balance yourself out. Make sure you're getting enough electrical food. Make sure you're making sure you're eating well. You aren't breathing on all the nanoparticulates in the sky that they're spraying on you. And make sure you aren't, doing anything to really make it harder on your body. Because right now it's going to be really, really challenging with this disease X that they're placating. And listen, y'all, I know they won't let me say it, but I'm going to say it. Disease X, how do I say this without them removing me? Because, they said I'm a terrorist online. You know that, right? YouTube said I'm a terrorist, even though I've been online and people are twerking, killing people online, beating people up. I'm spelling their husband's death. I haven't done that. Okay. But let me say this. It's being activated. It's already in people from the blah, blah, blah. The frequencies they're emitting, the pulse frequencies that they're doing when people are asleep at 9/11 every evening, that's pulsing through the United States and probably every country, those pulse frequencies are activating, releasing a bioweapon within people's bodies that was placed there by their own invitation or acceptance of invitation. So when people have a forever cough, when there's a great doctor online, which I love him. He's from Jamaica. I don't want to, y'all see him on Patreon. I want to reference him here because I don't think they'll be happy with me. But it's a bacteria, y'all, and it's a super bacteria. Allegedly. That's a lie. I'm a frog. I'm crazy. Don't listen to anything I say. Don't listen to anything I say about anything. Always look and fact check, y'all. Okay, fact check anything I say. But I'm letting you know that if you have any blah, 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 including the tattoos, you need to be cleaner than everyone else because all of us who don't have any of those things are feeling it. I can imagine how others are feeling. So, but the one thing that I do like, there's two doctors. I'm going to try to reference them real sneak. Like, Sea Stars, you guys can do it because my Sea Stars are in here. If they want to do it, they could do it. Okay, this is two. One talks about the snake venom, and the other one talks about what's going on with the spikes. One's Jamaican, one's lunar. The lunar one told you about the snake venom. Remember? Okay, remember that? Okay, just mention their names. I can't mention it. You understand. And the reason why some people who were smokers didn't have any symptoms was because what this doctor said. It's interesting. They went after smokers, right? And said they were the number one people that would be most affected during cucarachas, right? But that was a lie because we found out that people who were actually smoking cigarettes with nicotine were the ones most not affected. I don't know. It's allegedly I'm a liar. Don't listen to me. This is a joke. This is a skit. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying, don't say anything. I don't know anything. I'm an idiot. I'm a dark lord. I'm a crazy person. Hello. Okay. So it's interesting. Isn't that interesting, y'all? It's not smoking chief. It's not the chiefin'. It's them smoking something with nicotine. Remember back in the days, y'all? Let's just talk about a conversation. Remember back in the days, you see your grandmothers, because y'all in North America, you had some cool grandmas and grandpas. I used to see it in like movies, because like I'm first generation American and I loved American culture. Like I loved seeing like the old movies with the grandmother. She was rocking chair and what she have in her mouth? On the side, she had a pipe, right? With fresh tobacco. Right? Didn't she have that? Remember the back in the days, y'all? She was sitting on the porch with her with your grandpa, sitting at the south. It was such a cute. I get chills, right? Do you guys get chills when you think about that? They were sitting on the porch. It's so beautiful. I don't know. I don't know. You know when some others, like I've grown up here my whole life, but I love that image. I don't know why. I just like to see like or chewing tobacco, but I always thought it was so cool. I don't know why. I love to see how cool it was to for them to sit on the porch and those pipes were made out of like elk like elk the natives, the indigenous always had like elk. Theirs was made with elk, right? The horns, right? Or it was made with like wood, like pine wood or something, or olive, whatever it was. Corn cob, someone said corn cob. Antler, thank you. And I would see the grand, especially if you see like them old movies and they sitting on the porch and they rocking back and forth and like, yeah, we saw them going down. She take a, I was so, I don't know, it's so cute. Like I thought it was just cute. You need to understand and understand what that means right now. Okay? That's why they put in 50 million chemicals in cigarettes because the one thing that is probably the most important and it's the one thing that they're trying to overcome. Okay? So with this disease X, y'all, it is, in my opinion, and I'm crazy. Let me say this. I am a crazy person. I know nothing about nothing. I'm a liar. I am an idiot. I'm everything. Okay. I'm every woman, dark woman. But I personally think that these frequencies, these pulse waves that they pump in inside every night on a consistent basis is interfacing with nanoparticulates that's in people's bodies. And I would suggest if you're a young person and you don't have a tattoo, stay away from tattoos. If you've not gotten it, there's no reason for you to get it. If you want to get a temporary, put some henna on you, do something more natural. You want to go in the rainforest and have them put the natural tattoos from the soil and the cold, then go do that. But I wouldn't suggest if you don't have it and you clean like that, stay clean. Refrain from putting any nano on your body. It's in the Coca-Cola, allegedly. It's a lie. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, the dark ales, anything dark. Anything, the nano, I don't listen to me. I'm a liar. When they're saying things about, graphene. What's graphene, y'all? What's graphene? Because I'm a crazy person, right? Isis, what's graphene? Isis, since you like to copy and paste everything, right? Are you going to stop watching my video? Because I'm about to leave here. Stop watching my video, Isis. Don't watch me. I don't want you watching me. We're not friends. We're not friends. I don't like what you did. I don't appreciate it. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's disingenuous. We're not friends like that. I didn't hate you, but now you left a distaste in my mouth. Don't watch my videos. I'm going to block you. And if you watch again or you have other people watch me, I know that you're making up channels to watch me. You're not wanted here. I rebuke you. I'm going to create things to block you. Go watch someone else's channel and copy and paste what they say. We aren't friends. Okay. I listen to the people who knew you and they don't like you either. Okay. They don't like you. They said that you take other people's information and you try to placate it like it's yourself. And then you always say that it's source that gave you the information, but really the source is everybody on YouTube that you don't reference because you don't want them going back to the original source. we're not friends, okay? When Rod Hayes talked about what you did to him and I saw how dirty that was, and I had actually witnessed what happened, I just stayed out of that lane because I felt like he was legitimately saying what he felt. And now I can legitimately say, based on the things that he shared about you, I agree. Based on my own experience now. I didn't have an experience to reference before, not outwardly, but I've experienced what he said. Rod Hayes, Chief Pontiac is Chief. I like his name. Big up to Rod Hayes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, I heard that. You know what I mean? I heard what he said, and now I have a reference. Okay, and you too, D Nice, whatever your name is. You too. Stay off my channel too. I don't like you either. I like men, but I don't like you. Okay, stay off my channel. Okay, Gina, you too. Okay, I still think you're a gray. Stay off my channel. All of you, don't come over here. I don't. Why you come over here? If you think I'm crazy and you don't like me, it must mean that you like me, but I don't like you. So maybe because I don't like you, don't like me. Okay? It's not flattery. It's insulting. You know what I mean? So stay off of here. Okay? Because I don't want to have to. There's no reason. There's no reason to even battle this. Because it's not even a battle. Just stop watching my video. You shared it already. You placated the information. You act like it was yours, referencing it from source. That's fine. You got away with it, but you apparently didn't because my sea stars came and saw and shared. Now I know. Now they've illuminated me to the shenanigans. And now I am rebuking you. I rebuke everything about you, your energy, those who connected to you, anybody who resonates with you, because anything that resonates with you does not with me. Because anyone who would do that and would feel comfortable doing it right after they watched the video, that's someone I wouldn't resonate with. And I wouldn't resonate with people who resonate with that, who resonate with someone else's lies. Okay? Anyway, y'all, I'm out of here. I hope this video was helpful. We have a lot of distractions. They are here. My dogs, I think they're around the house. I'm going to try to capture them. I have to find my um, night glasses. See, if anybody has the, your night vision glasses, like your hunters and so on, I don't want to have to go buy another one. I know I had one. I got to go look for it. Check out what's around your house. They might just be all surrounding us. Be interesting. And expect more shenanigans before Trump takes office. This is probably the most exciting time of our lives, y'all. I'm actually quite excited. And we should just stay healthy, stay grounded, and stay aware. Okay, and don't fall for the okey doke and the psyops. And I wish Coach Carlson well. Okay, let me say that. You know, I wish you well on your journey of Jesus. Because just a reminder, Coach Carlson, you shouldn't jump on one ship and not keep connected to it, because now you see you jumped on the wrong ship. And the ship you on are full of enemies that you chose because, according to you, brown people can't be trusted. Well, apparently the lunars you're around couldn't be trusted either. So maybe you should have just anyway, I wish you well. I wish you all well. And I wish her well. Just stay off my channel. Don't make another channel. Don't make anybody. I don't want anybody over here. You know, I'll block you all from her. As a matter of fact, I should go to her channel and block everybody who's on her channel. How about that? I'm petty like that. I don't want anything associated with her. That energy is not. So I may go on her channel just to block everyone who watches it live. So if you made a comment on her channel and you caping for her, I'm going to block you all because I don't want you on my channel at all. I don't. That kind of energy isn't. Anybody who resonates with that and can't tell the difference and lacks discernment and sees that person as someone they should look up to and listen to, those are people I don't even want coming over here because it's messy energy. All right. Anyway, please put a like on the video if you like the shenanigans. I was a little messy today. I'm a petty patty today. It is Sag season. If you don't like it, then you don't have to subscribe to it. That's all you have to do is unsubscribe. All right, y'all. I wish you well, and I'll be back when something else happens. Okay, peace.